we are thinking of BOMU very much like a university. And what that means is there are prereqs. Now, there aren't prereqs in the traditional sense that you have, to take course X, you have to have taken course Y. But instead, the way we're doing it is that to unlock additional courses, what you have to do is take a quiz at the end of one or more of the foundation level courses. And when you pass that quiz and show that you've learned the stuff in that program, you will be awarded OWL points. Yes, those of you who've been around for a long time, we're bringing back the OWL. We've kind of brought it back and branding a bit, but we're calling our points OWL points. And so you will earn OWL points, which you can then use to buy the additional courses. Welcome to the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast, where being a badass has less to do with what you wear and what music you listen to, and everything to do with whether you've got the thriving online business of your dreams. I'm your renegade thinking Harvard Law grad turned online entrepreneur host, Bobby Klink. In my years building my thriving business, the most important lesson I've learned is that being a badass online marketer isn't about secret strategies or ninja tactics. It's about doing the basic stuff right and showing the F up. So each week here on the show, you'll get clear, easy to execute guidance on how to build your online business and a swift kick in the ass or two to make sure you're getting it done. Hey there, welcome to episode 201 of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klink, and I'm excited for today's show. Yeah, I'm excited for every show, but this show I'm particularly excited about because it's episode 201. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that we tend to do kind of the big events, not on the even numbers, but on kind of the odd numbers, or not the odd numbers, but on the 01. Back on episode 101 is when I introduced the new brand, moved from Your Online Genius to bobbyklink.com. It's also when I kind of introduced the concept of really focusing on the basics and the idea that what you need to do is focus on the basics and ignore the ninja tactics, the secret strategies, all that crap that people are trying to sell you. Well, so that was kind of a big deal for 101. Well, now in episode 201, I'm going to do kind of the next step, and I'm going to formally introduce you to Badass Online Marketing University. Now, you might be thinking, well, Bobby, you've been talking about that for months now, and you've been promoting it at the beginning of the episodes. And yes, that's all true. So this isn't kind of a first-time introduction, unless you're a first-time listener, in which case, welcome. But this is the formal introduction for a very important reason. Today is the day that we are formally moving our tech stack, and that means today is the day that BOMU is no longer a single course. It's multiple courses, and it is now starting to come to fruition. And so that's why I'm going to spend this episode talking about kind of BOMU, but also it's not just promoting it. I'm going to tell you why in the world we are doing this totally insane, crazy thing of giving away information that really most people would want to charge you multiple thousands of dollars for. Like each of these courses, most people would want to charge you $1,000 or more for. So why the hell are we giving it away for free? And I'm going to explain that too. And there's marketing lessons in there. That's not just about me talking about me being a great guy, although I am a great guy. It's going to be me giving you some very important kind of insights into the way we're thinking, which can help you figure out how you want to be thinking in your business. So that's what we're going to do today. You know, since I'm going to be talking about BOMU, I'm not going to do the standard, this episode is brought to you by BOMU. But if you haven't signed up yet, I'm going to suggest you go over to bobbyklink.com/BOMU. That's BOMU, bobbyklink.com/BOMU. You can get your spot, you can enroll, and you can get all this stuff. So with that, let's dive in and let's talk about my introduction of BOMU to you. Now, if you've heard me do the promotions of, well, let me step back. BOMU is our idea of a way to create kind of an all-in-one place for online entrepreneurs to learn the marketing stuff they need to build their online businesses. It started with the idea of me and Katie, my number two, talking about how in the world would we ever get someone up to speed in all things online marketing if they didn't know? Like if we hired someone into our business and they knew nothing how would we train them? How would we get them up to speed? And we didn't have a good answer. So as always, we created the thing. And so the idea was, hey, let's put together a soup to nuts thing that's going to have a bunch of different courses that will teach you the things you need to know to build an online marketing business. Now, there are other kind of things out there that do these kinds of trainings, but the trainings aren't really focused on if you are a coach, a course creator, a service provider, or something like that in the digital space. The ones that are out there are these generic things, often geared towards bigger companies, towards companies with products and things like that. And a lot of the information in there is good, but it doesn't directly translate. And so we were like, okay, how do we bridge this gap? And so that's how BOMU was born as an idea. And we introduced BOMU. We introduced the very first course within BOMU at my virtual event last year in December. And at the time, we introduced it and we said, we've got one course, Online Marketing Foundations, and we'll be adding more in the future. Well, today is that day. Now, it didn't take us this long to have all the courses created. No, we had some of them ready, but the problem was we were doing a tech stack overhaul. To make this work, we had to move off of Kartra and move on to our website, which is now done. And so now we can introduce everything. So I want to run down kind of what BOMU is. Well, there are 3 foundations courses within BOMU because we believe that building an online marketing business, you have to start with the foundation. So when you enroll in BOMU, you are immediately granted access to 3 foundations level courses. Online Marketing Foundations, which is one I've talked about before, which walks through how to think about marketing kind of writ large, how to think about marketing as an online entrepreneur. And it follows the commit, connect, convert framework that I've been talking about. So it's applying that and saying, okay, let's take traditional marketing concepts and apply them to how you build kind of an online business in our space. So that's Online Marketing Foundations. Now, the second foundations course is near and dear to my heart. Well, maybe that's not the right word, but it's Online Legal Foundations. And since I'm the legal guy, since I started as the legal guy, I know that this stuff is important. So what we've done is, if you've been with me a long time and you remember the Online Genius Academy, we took that and updated it and reshot it, and it's now Online Legal Foundations. It is it's not boring, it's not in the weeds. It's a 4-module course that walks you through the basic legal principles that apply in building online businesses and how to make sure you're protected. So that's in there as a second course. Now, the third course, and candidly, as I'm recording this, we don't yet have it in there, but I hope we do by the time we launch. And if we don't, it'll be there soon. My friend, Meg Wheeler, who is a CPA, who's, someone I've known, for a year and a half now, and she helps online businesses with the financial stuff. And I know that dealing with the financial stuff is a big deal. So she volunteered to create a course, Online Financial Foundations, that will help you as an online entrepreneur deal with the basic money stuff in your business. Set things up right, think about things, make all of those decisions from a monetary standpoint. Now, those are the foundation courses. So we have Marketing Foundations, Legal Foundations, and then Financial Foundations. And the idea of those is you get access right away when you enter because those are the foundation level courses. And in BOMU, we are thinking of BOMU very much like a university. And what that means is there are prereqs. Now, there aren't prereqs in the traditional sense that you have, to take course X, you have to have taken course Y. But instead, the way we're doing it is that to unlock additional courses, what you have to do is take a quiz at the end of one or more of the foundation level courses. And when you pass that quiz and show that you've learned the stuff in that program, you will be awarded OWL points. Yes, those of you who've been around for a long time, we're bringing back the OWL. We've kind of brought it back and branding a bit, but we're calling our points OWL points. And so you will earn OWL points, which you can then use to buy the additional courses. So they don't cost you money. You cannot buy these courses for money, but you have to use your OWL points to kind of get access to them, which means you got to show that you actually learned the stuff in a course by taking a quiz to get the points so you can buy something new. So that's how it's going to work. You have those 3 foundational courses in your portal right when you join. Then with this release, we are going to have 2 additional courses beyond the foundation courses, which you can purchase with your OWL points. The first one is badass messaging. And this is something that a lot of people in the online business, we don't realize how important messaging is. We want to rush to copywriting. We want to rush to creating a course. We want to rush to creating a membership. We want to rush to something else. And what I've said over and over and over again to people is, if you are struggling in your business, it's almost always messaging. You haven't gotten your messaging nailed. And so as a result, you're not connecting with your people. But one of the things that's largely been true, and that I've found this over and over again, if you try to sell someone a course on messaging, they're like, I don't want that. But a lot of what people are doing in the space is teaching messaging through another vehicle. So people who teach courses about live video often are teaching you messaging through the idea of live video. People who have courses about how to create an online course are often teaching you messaging through the vehicle of creating an online course. You get the point. I said, I believe you should actually learn messaging and we should step back and talk about messaging principles. So we created a course about messaging. Now, again, messaging is way too big of a topic to cover everything, but we walk through the importance of messaging, how it fits in. You learn about kind of an idea known as belief shifting and identifying the mistakes and things like that your audience is making. You learn about how to create some powerful statements, how to convince people and bring people around to your perspective. You're going to learn about some brand messaging elements. You're going to learn how to pick your core messaging themes, and you're going to learn about a little bit about product messaging. So that's the messaging course. It's pretty good. Trust me, I enjoy it. And I think a lot of people, if they just took that course and applied the information in there to their business, it would fix a lot of the problems people have. So I'm going to highly recommend that be a course you take. And then this is the big announcement in this episode. We have made a decision in my business. Up to this point, we had one course which theoretically people could buy. Badass Email Marketing. It was a course I created last year in 2020. People actually bought it. People paid for it, etc. And we are putting a stake in the sand. We don't sell courses in my business. And so we are adding Badass Email Marketing to BOMU. In other words, you can get access to what used to be my signature email marketing course, which has the information that other people have in courses that they charge $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 for about email marketing. You get it for free inside of BOMU. Now, again, you have to get your OWL points from one of the other foundations courses to be able to buy it, but you get it without having to pay me a dime. This is a course that is my labor of love, as many people know. After being the legal guy and kind of creating my Fans First site, I really got known for my emails, and so I leaned into that, and we have a course that was created that people love, got great results from. You will too. It walks you through from the beginning to the end of the cycle of emailing your list and kind of creating value by doing that. Now, those are the courses that are in there in this release of BADA Online Marketing University. But I want to give you a roadmap so you know what's to come. You know what courses will be coming down the pike. The next course that we're working on, and I will be working on this personally in April, is a course about, you could call it the customer journey or the buying journey or anything like that, but it's a concept of thinking about the different stages that people go through in considering and then buying your product. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take concepts of inbound marketing and content marketing and kind of put them together so you can see how all of this stuff fits together. This one will likely be a smaller course in the sense that it's not going to be a signature course that goes all the way into everything, but it's going to help set the foundations for you of understanding how you need to be thinking about things like the levels of awareness of people in your potential audience and the framework for getting people into your world, engaging with them, getting them to buy, and then ultimately getting them to become brand advocates and all of that stuff. And then understanding that process, but also understanding where the different types of marketing tactics and strategies that we talk about in this space apply. Where do you use them? In which phases? What should you be thinking about? How should you deploy the things, the tactics to do this big work? So that's going to be the next course that comes out. We're going to be working on it. My hope is to finish it up in April. And for those of you who've been with me for at least a year, Massive Action May, which we're doing again this year, a totally free experience, is going to be all about helping people really dig into that concept and get that stuff done. So we'll be doing that. Then after that, we internally in my business are going to be working on kind of a trio of courses. We're going to be working on a list building course, a content marketing course, and a social media course. And we're doing it as a trio because those three things need to be thought of in a single ecosystem. And what I mean by that is, I know a lot of people who take a list building course and then they say, okay, I got my freebie, got my landing page. How do I get people to actually come here and sign up? Right? And the answer will often be, well, okay, use some Facebook ads, or here's like a quick little module that has like, one quick, 2-minute lesson about how to do Facebook, a 2-minute lesson about, all the different social media. And like, I get it, because like it's a big subject. But the problem is I don't think that serves people well. And I think people would take that and end up not having a big view. So to give you a sense, other than ads and other than doing kind of Facebook advertising, et cetera, what people will like get value from, or the way that you build your list, is to do the list building work, but then it's your content strategy and your social media strategy of promotion that helps you actually get people on. So that's why we're going to work on those three courses in tandem, in conjunction, whatever, and that will be the next big release of BOMU. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but anticipate it sometime in the summer. That is our hope that will drop. So you'll have that. Now, other than those courses that we're working on internally, we have actually tapped someone in my community who already did a free training about some branding issues, and he's going to create a course that we will introduce or include in BOMU that will walk you through the kind of basics of picking colors, picking fonts, doing those things, and creating kind of a consistent visual brand for your business. So we're going to get that in there so you can do that. So that's not a holdup. So those are kind of the next 5 in the lineup. We also will be creating a course about creating a sales page, about how to pick the right kind of product and then create it. We're going to have a storytelling. We're going to have a lot coming down the pike over the long term, but those are the ones that we have right now. And I wanted to give you a sense of what's coming so that maybe I build some excitement and you're like, whoa, yeah, I want to get in there. I want to go through the stuff that's there now. So I'm ready for that next release. So that's what we have coming. So that's the introduction. And again, I said at the beginning, if you haven't yet, go to bobbyklink.com/BOMU. That's just BOMU. And you can grab your spot. You can, get started right away and kind of start building the right kind of foundations for your business. Now, with that, we're moving to the next point, which people keep asking me this. And the question I keep getting is something like this: why the hell are you doing this? Like, seriously, people are confused. Like, why in the world would you put all of this effort, put all of this monetary investment to create like a system? Because literally, we've paid a website developer. It'll be probably right around 5 figures to get our membership portal set up the way we want it, so that we can do the things that we're going to be doing inside of BOMU. So we've done that, but that's just literally the money. Katie on my team has been sprinting basically for 3 months now, working on the tech stack overhaul. And we've also been putting a lot of time into creating courses. So people want to know, why the hell would I put all of this money, this time, this effort into building something that I'm giving away for free? And you're not going to believe me when I say this, but ironically, the answer is pretty simple. And we can put it, and the reason I say you're not going to believe it is, I'm recording this the day that episode 200 dropped. We had to wait because I wasn't 100% sure that BOMU was going to be ready by the time this episode 201, goes live. And so I was waiting to record. So I'm recording it literally 1 week in advance. And as I was looking over and writing my email for episode 200 and thinking about the 5 lessons that I talked about having learned in my time as an entrepreneur, it hit me that BOMU is in many ways the ultimate expression of those 5 lessons. And I'm going to walk you through each one. Now, the first lesson I gave last week is that your training, your learning is never done, right? And of course, at the time in episode 200, I was talking about for me, like my training will never be done. And that's true. And BOMU doesn't really fit into that, although it creates some accountability. So I want to dig into these things and learn more before I create a course about it. So yes, it gives me that accountability. But the bigger thing is that I recognize that for you as my audience, there is so much to learn. Being an online entrepreneur can feel like you are drinking from a fire hose. We get it. And we want to provide a place for you to learn those things. Not to be learning one thing and then stopping, but to have a resource where you can learn all the things. And you can start with the foundational stuff, learn the basics, and then you'll have additional courses to kind of help you advance and move forward and move on in your journey over time. So in some sense, BOMU is our way of fulfilling that need for you to never stop learning. So that is that piece that I talked about last week. Now I'm going to kind of go out of order. One of the lessons I talked about in episode 200 is that we have to simultaneously be thinking about the short term and the long term in our businesses. In other words, we need to be thinking about, how do I make money today, but also how do I make money a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? And we need to be taking action today to plant those seeds for the future. So that was one of the lessons that I shared with you. And when I was really thinking about this, BOMU is the ultimate expression of that. Now, let me be very clear. My business as it stands right now, I wasn't making a lot of money by selling information. My business, we're making money with coaching, we're making money with my legal templates, we're making money with those things. But the more important thing is this: my short term is good. Like, we have money. Like, I don't have an issue with making enough money for the short term. And so because of that, I've been looking and saying, okay, how do I build for the long term? How do I take actions today to prepare for a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Well, BOMU is that. Because one of the things I shared, and I shared it in an episode shortly after my live event, because I'd shared it at my live event. The notion that we will make money by selling information over the long term is not a good plan. That business model is doomed. Now, can you make money selling information? Yes, you can, but it's not going to be by selling $1,000 courses or $2,000 courses or $3,000 courses. Do you want to know why? Because the market is going to undercut you and people will not pay that. As this market matures, what's going to happen is a Google, a Facebook, an Amazon, I don't know who, but one of these companies is going to say, you know what? We are going to get into the training model and create courses and offer them. And we're going to offer them for $20, $30, something dirt cheap. Again, there's little things like people charge for training about Google Analytics. That you can't charge a lot for. You know why? Google has a Google Analytics Academy that teaches you this stuff. So if you're just going to give me a cookie cutter approach, why wouldn't I go and learn from Google about how to do this, right? And so that's kind of a small example of this happening. But what I'm going to tell you is long term, that's going to happen more and more. There's already masterclass.com that is doing this. They haven't entered every space. They're only in a limited number of spaces. But over time, what I'm telling you is the big players are going to kind of take the place of any small business that wants to sell a course for high dollar. It just is not going to last. And so in some sense, when I look at the current business model that most of the people in the online space are building their business on, I say, you know what? That is a short-sighted model that's going away. Now, I don't know if that's in 5 years from now or 10 years from now. I don't know. What I can tell you is if you look at the market, you'll see that people's launches are getting way more complicated. People are having to say, well, I can't just do a webinar. I'm going to do a challenge leading into a pop-up group, leading into a quiz, leading into this, into that, and then I'm going to do a webinar, right? That's now becoming more and more common. And in other words, people are having to try to sell more and more and more to hit their numbers. Now, I look at that as a sign that there's more resistance in the market. Now, again, there are some people who are having great success. I know that. I'm not saying it's not happening, but I'm seeing trends. I'm the guy who sees these little seeds and sees what's coming in the future. And so what I'm saying is, I see this happening. I don't want to build my business based on the notion that I sell information. Okay? So I'm saying, I just want to stop doing that. And because my short term is taken care of without that. Now, I want to be clear. By adding badass email marketing to BOMU for free, I am certainly taking away revenue that I could be earning over the short term. Because I could be selling that course and I could be making money at it. So I am taking something away from my short-term gain to invest in my long-term future. So that's kind of giving you the sense of, to me, BOMU is a long-term play. It's me planting the seeds today that will pay off in the future. And then that leads to another one of the lessons I shared last week is that action matters, right? That action, like learning isn't enough, doing all this, you've got to actually take action. And what I would say is BOMU, again, the ultimate kind of example of this from me taking action, me seeing the problem with the information selling business and saying, okay, that's going to be a problem down the road. And instead of just having that insight and doing nothing, I'm taking action on that insight. I am saying, okay, how do I take some form of action that will help me to get ahead of that, right? To get ahead of this issue. And what I'm doing now is basically taking action that's going to give me an advantage in the future over my competitors who might be bigger than me, who might have way bigger businesses right now. But if they're not preparing for this shift, I will be way better positioned than them. And I can use a very simple example of this. It's the example of Netflix and Blockbuster. In like 2000, Blockbuster was the video rental company. But they were, of course, based on the model of the local video store that you walked in there, you got your movie, and you walked out. Now, at the time, if I remember correctly, I think we were probably still getting VHS tapes and DVDs, probably not even Blu-rays at the time. But around that time, the DVDs had become kind of the thing, and Netflix was this upstart company. And they had a meeting with Blockbuster to propose a sale. And I don't remember the exact amount, but Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for a very cheap comparative amount of money. But they scoffed. They said, why? We don't need to do that. And so they didn't take the opportunity. And so Netflix built out the infrastructure to do what they needed to do, which at the time was a combination of, it was basically building a subscription model to get people in who would be interested. And at the time, it was to home deliver the movies. But the idea of it was to effectively make renting or watching a movie convenient so that you didn't have to get off your couch, go somewhere, and come back. Netflix was building that infrastructure. So when the shift came, Blockbuster tried to catch up with its competition, but it never caught up because people had said, oh, Netflix is the company that does the delivery. Netflix is the company that does the streaming. So Netflix positioned themselves, and we know how that played out. Blockbuster is no more. Netflix is a market leader. And it was because Netflix was willing to invest and take action to build infrastructure before the market required it. Well, I'm doing the same thing. And what I'll say is to use some boring economic lingo for those of you who like such things, what I'm doing effectively is creating barriers to entry for my competitors. In other words, by the end of this year, I don't know the number, but I suspect we will have 15 or more courses inside BOMU by the end of this year, and it will continue to grow. It will become this one-stop shop for you to come and learn what you need to know to build an online marketing business. What that means is that the people who aren't taking action yet, just by the end of this year, they will be 15 courses behind, or maybe 14 if they have a course about one of these topics. So they're going to have to, if they want to compete with me to build something similar, they're going to have to sprint to try to create a bunch of new stuff to simply catch up to me. So you can see what I'm doing is, again, yes, I'm doing it because I like giving. I'm a radical giver, but there is a lot of strategic thinking happening here as well. I am creating something that will serve my audience so well that it positions me in a place that will make it hard for other people to compete with me if they wait. And as far as I'm seeing, no one is running out in our space to try to compete with BOMU at the moment. So I'm going to have a big old head start. And that's what I like. If I can get a head start, I'm going to take a head start every single time. Now, the next thing that you might be wondering is, okay, great. I'm starting to get it, but why is this the action? And again, aside from the fact that there are obvious things of me seeing what's coming in the future, what I'll tell you is that this is me being strategic, and it's about me thinking about inbound marketing. And I talked about inbound marketing in my last episode, episode 200, and I want you to go back and listen to it if you don't know that concept. But the concept is that really I'm adopting the model that professional traditional marketers use in the digital space of creating content that helps people at every stage of the buying journey and helping them take a step from this step to that step to the next step to the next step. And so what I'm doing is creating a content machine that will serve the living crap out of my audience to get them to the point that maybe they want to buy from me. Now, they don't have to. As with everything else we do in marketing, there will be many people who get all the value of this and never buy, and that's absolutely fine. Candidly, if everybody who signed up for BOMU turned around and said, okay, Bobby, I want to join your coaching program or get a VIP day, I couldn't handle it all. Literally, as of right now, I couldn't handle all those people, much less after we make this big push with BOMU. So it allows me to serve people, to provide a way for them to learn, to get value, to take the next step, to move forward in their journey so that some of them will get to the point that they decide, you know what, Bobby, I'd like to sign up for your coaching program. Or you know what, Bobby, I love this, but I would love to have a 2-day VIP session with you where we dig into this very specific thing in my business and you help me with the messaging, right? Examples. But you can see what's happening is I am creating the content that, and you'll get this more when I get the buyer's journey course, but that will attract people, that will connect and engage with them and nurture them, that will convert them into buyers and will turn them into raving fans and brand advocates. What I'm doing is building an inbound marketing machine to fuel my business. And so again, those are the reasons. And again, there are some other things to it, which is, hey, I by nature am someone who wants to be a radical giver, who wants to give more value rather than less. Okay. I also am, someone who we are committed to making everything accessible. And this is a way to make things accessible to people who don't have the resources to pay $2,000 for each course, which has become the norm in our industry. It's a way for me to serve my people, to feel really good about what I'm doing, but also be very strategic, be very forward-looking, build a machine for the future. So I hope that answers your question, because I hope you can start to see, and maybe getting that insight into my brain of why I'm doing such a crazy thing, such a crazy concept. Literally, BOMU seems just preposterous for a business like mine to put all this time, all this effort, all this money into something that is free. Might seem crazy, but it's not. See, this is kind of like the startup industry, where startups pour tons and tons of money into acquiring users before they even monetize. And in some sense, I've already monetized my business, right? I've already got money coming in. And why wouldn't I do this then? Why wouldn't I take that and invest the proceeds of what I'm doing into building for the future? See, I'm not thinking, what is my revenue going to be in 2021 or 2022? I'm thinking about, what is my company going to look like in 2025, in 2030? How am I going to create a business that lasts? That this is the last thing I ever have to do in my life for work. And I'm 42 going on 43. So what I'm trying to build is a legacy of something where this is my legacy to my family, to the people I serve, to everything else. And I share that with you because, and I'm going to do an episode about this at some point in the future, but I feel like I look around our space and I see a lot of people who are looking exclusively at the short term. And I can't blame you. I mean, I was doing the same thing, and I see it in the tactics. I see it in everything. And it's almost like we're all the subjects of that Stanford marshmallow experiment, where we're told, hey, you can eat the one marshmallow now, or if you wait 10 minutes, you can have two. And pretty much nobody's waiting for two. And what I'll tell you is that study after study, the follow-up to that famous experiment has shown the people who wait for two are the ones who tend to be more successful over the long term. And in that case, it's literally just that the ability to delay gratification tends to make you more successful in life by most of our standards. But in the case that I'm building this business, I'll tell you, it's that, but it's also that I'm investing in growing. So it's not just I don't have one and then I have two. It's no, I don't have one. And I don't even have to take the two. So it becomes 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and we could keep going. You get the point that by investing in the long term, you're able to build the snowball. And again, I get that when you're early on, you got to make money. And so I'm not suggesting to everyone who's listening to me that if you're not making money yet, that you start giving everything away for free. Nope. I started this by saying my short term is taken care of. And because of that, at this point in my business, I'm able to focus exclusively on the long term. And I'm making that choice rather than maybe, literally in my case, put maybe a couple extra $100,000 into my pocket. Like literally, I could probably make an extra couple $100,000 for myself, profit, salary, whatever you want to call it, if I didn't do this year and maybe next. But I'd rather build that and invest that money into a way bigger legacy. And so that's the choice I'm making. That's why I'm doing this. So I'm going to wrap up now. This has been, we've been waiting for today because I wanted to introduce all this stuff. I wanted to say that BOMU is actually a university, not a course. And now it is. It has multiple courses in it, and it's just going to keep growing and keep getting better. So if you haven't yet, head over to bobbyklink.com/BOMU. You can get your spot absolutely free. And, after listening to this, hopefully, There's no catch. There's no upsell. There's no none of that. It's just me providing the information. And here's the other call to action I have for you. If you've already joined, tell other people about it. Help the other entrepreneurs by getting them into BOMU. Because think about it. You'll be serving them and, you'll be helping them out. And, you'll be helping me out too, obviously, because they'll come into my world. So I'm not going to complain about that. I'm not going to pretend that I'm telling you to do that purely for altruism. Now, it'll help them. And I think by now, I'm not going to put a hard sell on them. But I would encourage you to do that. You can sign up or you can have other people sign up by heading to bobbyklink.com/BOMU. That's it for this episode, and I'll see you again next week. That's it for this episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. Make sure to tune in next time. And in the meantime, go out and build the badass business of your dreams.